All right, we're going to welcome to the show now Democratic strategist and founder of Doodle Mom Strategies, Emily Suttle-Braun, and president of Winning Republican Strategies, Aaron Evans, both sides of the aisle, as we like to do here at News Nation. Great to have both of you. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be on. Thank you.
All right, Emily, you've been doing some interviews here on News Nation with our Katie Pavlich. I understand you dated Plattner and say you believe these accusations against him. What are your thoughts on him officially dropping out? And do you think this should have happened before the primaries, before all this?
Sure. I mean, I certainly did date him over a decade ago, although not what I'm here this morning to discuss. I think these allegations came out. You had very prominent senators that had thrown their support behind him very quickly, remove those endorsements and call for him to step out of the race. The DSCC quickly removed their support, so the fundraising arm disappeared, and now the candidate has filed. So he's out of the race, and I think it's time to move on.
All right, Emily, I'm going to stay with you. Aaron, I'll get back to you in just a second. But Emily, around 600 delegates from the main Democratic Party will select Plattner's successor. Why not let voters pick who replaces him? I mean, did the Democrats not learn their lesson from President Biden when he dropped out and the party, and then Kamala Harris, Biden just sort of passed the torch there without voters choosing her?
I think, unfortunately, this is down to timing. This is down to the way that this is all unfolded. And I think that the blame here can be placed squarely on Plattner's shoulders and not on the party and not on the voters. Ultimately, I think we're going to be able to put a candidate in the seat that voters want to see, a progressive candidate that can help continue to galvanize the movement that Plattner's team built. And ultimately, it's just a shame that it unfolded this way from a candidate who I think most Maine voters would say duped them and made them feel like that they, advocated for someone who is not what he put out to the world.
Yeah, and he says his dropping out is not an admission of guilt in any way. It's because of the lack of support from the party. That's his side of things. Aaron, Trump has endorsed Republican incumbent Susan Collins, despite her numerous times voting against him and the Republican Party. Look at this. According to our partners at The Hill, some Republicans have expressed concerns that Collins' challenge is about to become tougher with Plattner out. So how much energy should Republicans be putting into this race, Aaron?
I think it's a top focus race. I mean, I think that it's Senator Collins is a very strong candidate, and I definitely still think she's got a strong shot of reelection. She's got a very, as you just highlighted, she's a strong independent voice for Maine. And I think as much as that may frustrate Republicans from time to time, she really puts Maine voters first in her decisions, even when it clashes with the party. But ultimately, the pathway definitely gets stronger. I mean, it would be hard to imagine a candidate who would perform, who would have more flaws and vulnerabilities than I think Plattner ended up having. So, whoever they nominate will actually be stronger than Plattner. However, I think it is important to recognize, in a little bit of contrast to my colleague's framing of this, how long it actually took the Democrats to reject Plattner. I mean, this has been literally everything they've accused President Trump of over the last, multiple years. Plattner exhibits the reality of, and they've really shown that the hypocrisy of those positions in embracing Plattner all the way up until the last minute when they realized that they had a real problem.
And Emily, a recent Wall Street Journal op-ed said if Democrats lose Maine in November, they're going to blame Plattner. Does the Democratic Party hold the blame after backing a guy? As Aaron just brought up some of his flaws that have been making headlines and reasons, at least, that are seen as flaws of the individuals that dropped their endorsements of him, the Nazi tattooed, and they continued to back him despite numerous accusations and controversies that just seem to continue to fall out more and more. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, I think the blame would not fall squarely on his shoulders if that loss were to occur. I think personally, I'd like to see a little bit more blame put on the shoulders of Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna, folks that continue to put support behind candidates that are not representative of the values that voters want to see. I think the Democratic Party is going to need to look in the mirror here and decide what values we both want to put out to the world, but also we are willing to engage with our friends across the aisle, because clearly Republican voters have decided that sexual assault is not a disqualifier for running for and being elected to public office, and that makes the game a little bit more challenging, especially when you are the party of believing women.
Yeah. Well, again, Plattner does reject all of these accusations and says that, again, he's dropping out because of lack of support from the party, not because he's admitting any guilt there. Aaron, Trump saying on Truth Social on Friday he would not sign the bipartisan housing bill in, quote, protest over the fact that the United States Senate is not capable of passing the Save America Act. Now, the housing law went into effect at midnight, so this is new this morning. Will the president's protest have any impact on the Senate passing the Save America Act now?
I think this is he's using the negotiation abilities that he still has left to use. And I think, we've got to remember this is the same president who also has seen this kind of play out before, where he had Republican majority in the House and Republican majority in the Senate in his first term. And they were unable to address some of the concerns with the Affordable Care Act. And then now he's facing some of the same challenges again. I think he's really wanting to move the ball down the road and get some things done. So, he's using the negotiation that he has. Clearly, sharing what he wants isn't going to move the needle. So he's trying to impact something they care about to bring a little more negotiation to the table.
All right. Well, hopefully this housing law that's taking